this. Yeah, I'm that guy who cares, and that's why he shares. And for those of you who are hitting me for the first time or catching some of this information, I want to say thank you for being here. And go over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're getting ready to, well, we're starting to grow. We have momentum because people really want to know when it comes to their health, nutrition, the things that they can actually do to maximize their personal situation and goals. So do that. Also, like, comment. I appreciate you being here. But let me ask you this question, because I'm taping this, many of you will catch the replay because I'm doing this pretty late at night. So on the East Coast, it's 12:15 p.m. as I share exactly, or not a.m. p.m. a.m. On the West Coast is 9, a little after 9. Um, but I went to the grocery store and I ended up getting into a conversation with the lady as I was right there by the eggs. She said hi or something, and I replied. And next thing you know, she had picked up some eggs and put down a different eggs, then picked up another one. And I said, "Hey, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions?" And she goes, "Yeah, what's that?" I go, "What are you looking for?" And she was 100% focused on cage free eggs. Okay, so let me open this up. I got a couple slides I'm going to show you. So, cage free eggs. I was like, okay, well, why are you choosing the cage free eggs? Like, what's the difference between cage free and free range? And she really didn't know. Now, she attempted to answer, but she really didn't know. So here's my question to you. Like, if you're catching this, do you know the difference between cage free and free range eggs? And then I'm gonna throw in a third one. The third one would be pasture raised eggs. Now, so then I actually took a moment. I said, okay, let me just stare at these eggs. And I was like, okay, what is popping out at me? And what was popping out was cage free was a big deal. I mean, you can see the marketing is everywhere. And I think we all want to be kind and loving and nice. And we think, hey, I want the hens, right? I want the chickens to be able to run around, just run around and like Little House on the Prairie, right? so so it's like, so we go cage free. That means they're not in a cage, right? And then you have some people that go, no, no, you want to get free range so they can run and just be free. All right. So, and this is my opinion, but the eggs I would not buy and I never buy are cage free. So why is that? Okay, let me show you a couple things. Okay, so number one, let's take a look at this screen. If you're catching it, it says cage free. And that sounds really cool. And then look, if you look under that to the left, it says vegetarian fed hens. Okay, that's not hard. I mean, that's not hard to do, right? I mean, chickens aren't, hens aren't running around eating pigs and eating cows, but the marketing just really gets us, right? Like farm fresh. Like what does that really mean? So here's the deal. Whenever you see cage free, all that indicates is that hens are not kept in what they call battery cages, right? And instead, they have some room. But cage free does not mean that hens are given full access to outdoors. They're in barns and they don't look really good. Okay. Cage free, trust me, if you saw what I've seen, you would go, that's so they're not free. They're in like a little over like one square foot cages. And then if they come out of the cage, then they're trapped inside of the barn. Okay, so they don't get to go outside. So when you see cage free, it ain't Little House on the Prairie. They're not running around free and enjoying freedom. So now we know what cage free is. Okay, cage free. Okay. Those are like for me personally. And I'm going to tell you from a nutrition standpoint why I don't do cage free, but I don't buy cage free eggs and I like eggs. So cage free eggs gets a no to me. Okay. You guys with me? Okay. This is good. This is, it's good when you like learn something. You know what I mean? So then as I'm sitting there talking to this lady, we see free range. And you see that a lot too. And again, people assume freedom, right? But it's a USDA term, and it means that eggs come from hens that have access, some sort of access to the outdoors. Okay. So the difference between cage free and free range is that if you have a barn, if it's cage free, they have no access through outdoors. If it's free range and they're in the barn, that means there's a door or some outlet somewhere in that barn where they could actually go outside into probably a large fence area that's outside. Now, think of a barn full of chickens. And I'm going to show you some pictures, but think of a barn full of chickens, hens. Well, I mean, it's a lot of them in there. And there's only one door that gives me access to kind of go outside and get a little bit of sunlight. That's free range. So the next time you guys go to the grocery store, I'm seriously, like I encourage my clients. I was talking to quite a few this week. I was going actually today, and I was telling them, go to the grocery store. And I want you to really just take a moment and look at all the eggs and how they brand the eggs. And then I'm a nerd, right? When it comes to this stuff. And I said, take a picture and text it to me because I want to see what your egg aisle looks like. There's so many different brands. And the number one thing that I see is free range and cage free. The only difference is that free range, somehow, some way they can get access to sunlight. If it's cage free, that doesn't mean what you guys think it means. Okay, both cage free, I'm going to say is the worst. The second worst would be free range. So then, what would be the thing to go for then? You ever notice? And this is the most interesting thing. If any one of you guys are into marketing, this part right here is very interesting because when you go to the store, the eggs that are like the best, and we're talking about a grocery store, because if you can go and you can find a friend or go to the farmer's market and get someone who raises them, naturally that are pasture raised, then those are going to be like the best eggs you're going to ever get. Okay. But in the grocery store, you'll see pasture raised and it gets less play because there are some eggs that people are buying that say cage free on them, or free range. Maybe they'll say free range, or the wording will be off, but they're pasture raised. But no one buys pasture raised because it's not sexy. It doesn't, from a marketing standpoint, it doesn't pull people in. But at the grocery store, the ones that you want to buy are pasture raised. And why do you want those? Are the healthier eggs to buy. There is no question. You can't even argue it. Pasture raised means that those hens, right, are free to roam and graze freely in large open pastures, right, or someone's backyard. And what is the difference? Well, if you have a pasture raised egg, when I was vegan transitioning to a vegetarian and I started eating eggs, I knew that I wanted pasture eggs. Or pasture raised eggs. That's when I first understood this. Okay. And pasture raised eggs, even though these terminology are a little loose, at the end of the day are hens that are free. And they're eating worms and they're eating crickets and they're eating spiders. I mean, chickens eat all kind of stuff. Whereas when you look at cage free and free range, the majority of them, they're not eating from the earth. They're being fed corn. They're being fed soybeans. And a lot of what they consume is what we end up consuming. So when you get pasture raised eggs, for instance, they contain, and when we're being conservative, twice as much omega-3 fatty acids. Now, omega-3 helps with reducing inflammation. Omega-3 helps with a lot of things, is essential. And omega-3 is that fatty acid that we're just not getting enough of. And the more you get of that, you see a lot of things improve. I mean, from blood pressure, you name it. It's mind-blowing. Pasture raised eggs have at least 3 times more vitamin D than cage free and free range. A pasture raised egg has what, 4 times more vitamin E and 7 times more beta carotene. Think about that. Unbelievable. So you can't even argue it. So when you see those, out of all those eggs are in your grocery store, look for pasture raised. Keep looking. And sometimes you'll open up like the top of the eggs and they may say, free range or something, or maybe different words, not free range, but you'll see pasture raised, like hidden. And that is the thing that is saying, hey, people, these are the best eggs. Okay. So now let me give you a couple little more slides and we'll be done. Okay. So look to the far right. That's a free range egg. Then next to it, you have a caged egg. And then you have a caged egg. Now, the caged egg, which is interesting, is a paler yellow compared to cage free and free range, which to me are basically the same. Okay, yellow. But pasture raised eggs are closer to orange. Yes. Now, it may feel weird when you first crack it. You're like, oh, this is weird, because you're conditioned for it to be yellow, further away from nature. But a real egg that's fully giving you what, from evolutionary standpoint is to provide us, is going to be closer to orange, like an orange, dark orange. And personally, they taste better to me. Very interesting. Okay. So, and today you have more people today than ever that are actually beginning to have chickens again. Hens run around the backyard. And you can set them up. You can make them look really nice. You can give them their own house, and they have free room to run around the yard. And you don't need many hens to be able to feed a family. It's amazing that it's happening more and more and more. So the oranger, right? The color, that means healthier. Okay, healthier on a lot of levels. Here's another look at it, right? So to the left, you have the orange one. That's the one that's packed with all the healthy stuff, like way more compared to the one that's yellow. Pasture raised. Now, I actually thought about not sharing this information because right now when I go to my local store, they have pasture raised eggs. But when I started announcing things, then more people start going to get those same eggs. And until the store owners realize there's a movement, then I go there and I don't get to get the eggs that I want. So anyway, oh my goodness. But pasture raised, I'm telling you, it is worth it, especially for a lot of you guys who have inflammation. Many of us want to really be at our healthiest. Pasture raised eggs, they are solid. So that's something that you want to be looking for. Now, this picture right here is an example of what is going on in the world. Look how, these guys are just in there and they're just throwing feed up in the air and they're just eating it. Okay. That's one step from cage free. One step. This is cage free. So when they say, oh, cage free eggs. So again, remember marketing, right? So those of you who have a business mind and you're interested in this part, marketing is not always about telling the truth. It's about speaking to how people perceive it. So when you say cage free, people think more humane. I'm going to buy cage free eggs. This is healthier for us. And that's cage free. So pretty crown to me. And this can also be range free because all they need is a door where they could actually go out and get some sunlight. But this is not pasture raised. Pasture raised is freedom, right? And we all like freedom. This is pasture raised. Now they can go inside if they want. They can be outside, and a lot of times they stay out there. They may want to go in, maybe for warm or get out of the sun. But look at them; they're just running around, eating from the land, and that's pasture raised. Pasture raised. Just remember that, and not pasteurized. Because I've shared this in seminars, and people will leave and going, "Oh yeah, I'm going to buy pasteurized eggs." No. Pasture raised, and I may not even be the best at enunciating this, but pasture raised, freedom. And chickens eat some of everything. And when you're eating, those eggs that come from pasture raised chickens, the outcome is absolutely mind blowing. So let me just reinforce it before I say goodbye. Pasture raised eggs contain twice as much omega-3 fatty acids, which is a very important essential fatty acid. Pasture raised eggs contain 3 times more vitamin D, 4 times more vitamin E, and 7 times more beta carotene. Wow. And the list goes on and on and on to the break of dawn. So we now understand eggs, right? I did. Hey, actually, I'm noticing Sandy made a comment about what happened to you share because you care. Well, I said it at the very top of my talk. I share because I care. So, okay. So here we go. Here's the take home. All right, here's the take home. What kind of eggs are we going to buy? Ideally, you want pasture raised. Will I eat an egg that's not pasture raised? Yeah. But when I'm in a position where I could buy the eggs, will I pay $1 more if they're pasture raised? Yes. Like the next time I do this, I'm going to do something on bacon. And the bacon is going to blow your mind. When I talk about bacon, I'm going to be talking about bacon, like pork bacon, chicken bacon, soy bacon, turkey bacon. Oh, it's going to be very interesting. Okay. And if you're a client of mine and we're talking on the phone, ask me about bacon if we haven't talked about it. But when it comes to eggs, I think we did good. We have a better understanding of what to choose. The best eggs at the grocery store will be the ones that say pasture raised. The worst will be cage free. And the second worst will be range free because to me they're basically the same. Pasture raised are the eggs that you want. Now, ideally, you have your own hens and you can eat your chickens that you own. You can eat eggs from your own chickens, right? Or your own hens. However, maybe you can go to the farmer's market. And at the farmer's market, boom, you can buy some really close to nature stuff. But if you go to the store, most stores will have pasture raised. Okay. Yeah, we definitely will be doing some bacon. What's up, Melissa? What's up? Yeah, we're going to talk about bacon. Bacon is going to be a fun conversation. And you know what? I think I'm going to have my dear friend come on with me. That'd be a fun conversation to talk about bacon. So that will actually be really fun. Okay. Well, there you go. We know what to look for now. So you want to buy raised, and it does matter. It really does matter. Okay. And it's funny. As I'm recording this live, we're right before Thanksgiving in 2022. And and when I go home, I'm going to buy some pasture raised eggs because I'm doing a lot of stuff with eggs right now. And I don't think I've ever done this with my mom, but I'm going to do it. And I think she's going to either freak out a little bit when she sees the orange like egg, but then she's going to go, Man, that reminds me of childhood because my mom, they used to have their own hens. And so they would have their own eggs. And it will remind her of what a pasture raised hen produces because she grew up eating that. See, and this is one, like, here's one of my conspiracy things. I have had many physicians tell me that their clients who are their patients who are like, say, 67 plus are healthier than their kids that are in their 40s and early 50s from a metabolic standpoint. And I believe a lot of that has to do with the older generation, more mature generation. They were consuming things closer to nature when they were growing up. And a lot of then their kids weren't. And it could be down to an egg. You know what I mean? That's just one ingredient, like one food that we're talking about. Because this, like, I mean, think about it. It's like when you start looking at everything and then the increase, like, you know, barcode foods that we eat, right? Products that are in packages. Man, it's like we're eating way more of that than our parents' did. Very interesting because there could be a compound effect, right? Not always on the pro and not always on the negative. But if something's happening again and again and again and again for a long period of time, problems show up. I mean, you hear about that with people that work at the grocery stores. You know, carpal tunnel is not rare. It's popular because they're swiping and swiping and swiping, doing the exact same motions on a regular basis for a long period of time can create some problems. And sometimes it could be a good thing. I guess it all depends. Well, anyway, we talked about eggs. I hope this was helpful to you guys. I hope you can come over to YouTube and subscribe and hit the like and make sure you hit that bell so you get information on whatever we share, new stuff that we share. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And if there's anything that you can share that will add to a better clarity or understanding of the different types of eggs that people can purchase at most grocery stores, please do so. And if you have questions, post those in the comment area. And if I can answer, I will definitely answer. And if not me, we got some serious diet-free lifers that know their stuff and they would answer it. Okay. So until the next one, Robert Ferguson.